Hey there, Panthers fans. So for this video, I wanted to dive into the Florida Panthers' newest addition to their jersey history or jersey arsenal here, the Reverse Retro 2.0 jersey. Of course, let me know your thoughts on this jersey down in the comments down below, and hopefully I have the chance to produce a little bit more jersey content for you guys here on Flying Fluffy. So the NHL has recently announced designs for every single team. So there are going to be 32 different reverse retro jerseys this year. And yeah, the idea for those of you who aren't familiar with this program is that it's kind of based on a jersey that a team has worn in a previous era. So a lot of these designs are from like the 1990s or so, or maybe the early 2000s. Apparently that's kind of retro now, but you take that sort of design and then you put a twist on it. And then what an NHL team will do is they'll either change up the color scheme, kind of like inverting it, or they might swap out the logo for something else, maybe the more current version of their logo, and make other small fine tunings. And from there, you get a brand spanking new jersey. So we're going to talk about the Panthers in this video, but if you're curious, I have ranked all 32 designs on my channel, Twisted Wrister Hockey. You can see a link to that video in the description down below. So to no one's surprise, this Panthers reverse retro jersey makes use of the template from the 1990s. So when I say the template, I mean, of course, something like what I'm wearing here, right? You've got the colored shoulder yoke with shoulder patches. You've got a little bit of trim around the shoulder yoke as well. And then you have this sort of angular striping on the sleeves with a couple different stripes, colored cuffs, and you get something very similar on the waist as well. Now that's kind of the template that the Panthers followed for their first reverse retro when they had a navy version of pretty much what I'm wearing right here. Now right away you can probably tell there are a couple of big changes with this jersey versus what we've seen in the previous era. So the first of which, you are actually seeing the shoulder logo from the previous era as the primary logo. First time it has not been an actual Panther. And second of all, it is a powder blue jersey. So the powder blue, where does that come from? Well, the Panthers had an alternate jersey from 2009 to 2012. This is back during the Reebok era, and this was two-toned. It had navy blue primarily and also some powder blue. And you'll also see that there is a shoulder logo on this reverse retro jersey on both shoulders, and that is actually taken from that Reebok alternate jersey. So this is a bit of a mashup between, the Panthers from the late 1990s, this shoulder logo first appearing in 1998, and it's also combining a little bit from that Reebok alternate from about 12 years ago. Now, the Panthers have announced that this jersey will be worn a total of 7 times between November and January. I think most teams are following suit. They're not actually wearing it through the whole season. It'd be crazy if we saw something like this in the postseason. But anyway, first game is going to be Saturday, November 19th against the Calgary Flames. Then Wednesday, November 23rd against the Boston Bruins, followed by November 26th versus the St. Louis Blues. This one's interesting on Saturday, December 10th. They're in Tampa. So this could actually be a reverse retro jersey matchup, which would be incredible given that the Lightning have thrown it back to the 1990s with that atrocious looking Storm jersey that we all wanted to see as well. And then the next day, they're going to be home against Seattle wearing this reverse retro. Then on New Year's Day against the New York Rangers, that would be quite a sight, right? If we saw that versus the Statue of Liberty. I don't think that's going to happen though. And then lastly, on Saturday, January 28th, again, versus the Boston Bruins. All right, guys, so here's what I like about this jersey. I am a sucker for powder blue jerseys. Any sort of light blue jersey that a team wears is almost always an automatic winner for me. From the Penguins 2008 Winter Classic to the Quebec Nordiques to the St. Louis Blues 2017 Winter Classic, I just love the hell out of powder blue. And for the Panthers, I think it works really well here. Overall, this color scheme, it's just a nice, unique blend of colors that haven't been really used all together before, and I think it works really well. It really plays on this motif of hockey in Florida. And even though I'm not a fan of the shoulder logo that was used in that Reebok alternate jersey, I actually think it works pretty well on a red backdrop because it's primarily that marigold color. And the use of color, the application of color on this jersey is great as well. From the striping to the very bottom of the jersey also being navy, I think that kind of mutes the jersey in parts where it needs to be. it's just overall really well composed in terms of color scheme, and also from the way that the space is used on the jersey. You have the colored shoulder yoke. You also have plenty going on with the ends of the sleeves and also with the bottom of the jersey. So the space is utilized very well, and that is important because there are some designs that didn't translate well into Adidas, like the Boston Bruins Pooh Bear jersey. It's a little blank as a white jersey, and the Nashville Predators, throwing it back to the Mustard Cat, that is really blank in big areas of that jersey as well. Whereas with the Panthers, I think that this overall is as balanced as you can get when switching from, a jersey template from the 1990s up until now. And then lastly, I really do like seeing that shoulder logo as the primary logo for this. Why not? Reverse retro is your canvas to do something a little bit more creative. And I just think that this is one of the best examples of taking a proven design that people know and love and just changing it up enough to where it feels unique. I think that the Panthers have done that maybe as well as any other team in this reverse retro series. I think of maybe even the Devils as well being up there for me. So Florida gets really high marks in that respect. Now let's get into what I don't like about this jersey. First of all, I don't like the numbers at all. They're pretty blocky and just don't really fit the motif of the jersey, of this kind of vibrant, playful sort of appearance. They're in navy as well, which you don't see navy until the ends of the jersey. So I just don't think that's much of a fit. And the white outlining looks kind of awkward to me. I would have gone probably with like marigold for the numbers. I mean, you can see that white is not even really used in this jersey at all. So to have it on the numbers as an outline to me is kind of awkward. Yeah, it's a little ticky-tack, but as somebody who collects jerseys, that kind of stuff does stand out when you're actually looking at these repeatedly. So that's one thing that stands out. I don't like how the collar is a different color than the rest of the shoulders. Instead of being powder blue, it would really fit in much better, I think, if it were all red. So you have red from one shoulder to another. That to me would have been much more tasteful. And lastly, even though I talked about the shoulder patch earlier, I do think it's too redundant though with the actual primary chest logo because they have a sun, right? And they're both marigolds. So to me, even though it's consistent, there's, I think, kind of a missed opportunity to maybe actually put one of the Panthers logos on the shoulder instead of another sun. So you could have gone maybe with that alternate logo or that circular logo from that Reebok alternate jersey in the late 2000s. I didn't like that logo myself. I actually talked about Florida Panthers logos in a separate video here on Flying Fluffy. Check that out if you haven't already. But I would think that would actually be a good spot for a circular logo because that looks really good when utilized on the shoulders. But overall, I'm a big fan of this jersey. It's not at the very top of my rankings, but among the 32 different designs out there, I have it ranked 6th. And again, check out my video if you haven't already. If I can actually afford to buy, 5 or 6 different reverse retro jerseys, I would certainly allow in my budget room to buy a Panthers jersey as a blank though, not with customization. I just think that that's kind of superfluous. There's enough happening with the jersey for me to be satisfied. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about that down in the comments down below. Where does this compare versus maybe other Florida jerseys of the past? I personally like this more than the Reverse Retro 1.0. That was a little bit dull in terms of its color play. I had that ranked, I think, 12th in the NHL back then. But this, again, I have it ranked 6th. So anyway, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments down below. And let me know what other sorts of videos you want to see on Florida Panthers logos, jerseys, and that sort of thing. So anyway, Panthers fans, hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Nick, and hopefully I have a lot more great videos to put out on this channel for you guys, Panthers and non-Panthers alike. Have a great one out there, guys.